So I'm going to show you how to do remixes for any song that you choose. So I was scrolling through Instagram and I came across this song called Best Thing by Janine.
You're the best thing that's happened to me in a while.
Immediately the vocals grabbed me. Amazing tone and pure quality. And so I had the idea to do a remix. Naturally, started beatboxing to the song and the drum pattern fit. So I thought, cool, the idea that I've got in my head is going to work. So the next thing I had to do is source the Acapella. If you've never heard of lalao.ai, I will strongly suggest you go and check it out. It's such an amazing platform which extracts vocals, drums, music from any song. So I've downloaded the song from YouTube, dropped it into lalao.ai. Lalao's done its thing.
I know we said this won't be the way we stay forever.
And once I got the Acapella, I dropped it into Logic, chopped it all up to where I wanted it to be because the structure is slightly different to the original. So now that I've dropped that into Logic, I need to know the BPM. So there's two ways of doing this. You can either go online and put BPM counter or find BPM. You're going to come up with a few options where you can easily find the BPM of the song that you want to remix. Or if it's a well-known song and it's popular, like Best Thing, I'll type in the name of the song and BPM. And Google will bring up the BPM and the key of the song. So I've got that, got my file in Logic, but the song that I've got in mind, or the remix that I've got in mind is 142 BPM, whereas the original is 136 BPM. So then I time stretched it, which is quite easy to do now in Logic Pro. If you're in a different DAW, then it's going to be different. So to time stretch it, put the original BPM in and then turn on polyphonic on the Acapella and then put the new BPM in, which is 142, and it will stretch it. Job done. So I've got my Acapella, I've got my BPM, now it's time to build a remix. So what I did next was create the drum pattern, went straight to Ultra Beat, which is my favorite, most used drum machine on Logic. I've got a whole video on how to use that if that's something you want to check out. I don't do that yet because we've got work to do. Then I go to a template. So I've got a drill template that I use most of the time. And you're probably thinking, why do you use templates? And the simple reason is because it saves a lot of time. If I didn't have a drill drum pattern, which is pretty much almost the same generic hi-hat pattern, then what's the point of me trying to create that every time I make a drill beat? So it makes sense to have a template and modify it where I need to. So I've got my drum pattern. There's no kick drum in it at the moment. It's just a hi-hat and rim shot. I like the rim because it just gives it a different feel and I feel like it works with the vocals. So then I need a piano. I need a harmony to fit with the vocals. So after a few tries, I've come up with this nice piano pattern, which is similar to another song, which I won't mention, but if you know, you know. And I ran with that, and I feel like it worked. It works. So all is good. Then I need a counter melody or something just to sit underneath. Use a bell sound from Analog Lab, which is one of my go-to synths. Absolutely love that synth. And for that melody, it's really simple. I'm not trying to overcomplicate it. I'm not trying to compete with the vocals because I want the vocals to shine through, in which they should. Sometimes with remixes, I will chop up the vocals. You can, if you want to, chop up the vocals and have stuttered vocals. But I feel because of the vocals in themselves, there's no point. I just think it's a good idea to just let the vocals breathe. And that's what I've done. So the counter melody to go with the piano. Complements it. Now I did say I didn't want to overcomplicate it because the piano pattern is quite complex. There's quite a bit going on in the piano, so I didn't want to overdo it too much. So then I felt like there was something missing. It needed something to fill out some of the missing frequencies where the piano and the bells are. And I usually do this by using a pad. So for the intro part, for the pads, I just use two notes. an octave apart, and that just goes through the intro. So then I felt like it's a good idea to switch the sequence just as the track drops. It gives it a different feel. Same again, 2 notes and then drops a note on the second bar, and it complements the piano sequence. The piano chord sequence. So in the first part, it's just the pads just is sustained. So it's kind of juxtaposed with the piano because the piano's doing all up and down, and then the pad is just consistent all the way through, but it gives it like a mood to it. So yeah, that's what I ran with. So for the second part, when it drops, the pads change, giving it a different feel. Again, I didn't want to overcomplicate it and add too many sounds, which is something that I normally do. But because there's vocals there, I don't feel the need to add a whole heap of different sounds. So next is the source, which is the bass, the 808. I'm using the 808 Clarity, which is, I'm sure, a lot of producers have used. I felt like it fit this remix. I didn't want to go too dark sounding like some of the other drill beats that you hear and make it too sustained where it didn't fit with the mood of the song. I didn't want it to sound too dark. Just keeping the 808 pattern simple. Kind of just following the kick drum. I'm jumping ahead. So then I added the kick because there was no kick to start with. It was just a hi-hat pattern and the rim snare and the piano. So then I just played in the kick pattern. Which sat nicely with the piano, the groove of the piano. And then I can add in the other stuff. So with the 808, I just kept it simple, and then kind of just following the groove of the kick, and then sometimes missing a note, and then just having the kick hit in the space, which worked nicely. There's 3 different 808 patterns in that remix, and that's because when I made my first pattern, I wanted to fill it up and make all these different sounds and stuff, different pitches for the 808s, and have it doing other stuff and making it a bit too busy. But I thought the idea behind this was to just keep it simple at first and then gradually build, and that seems to work nicely. And then going on to the break, we've got a little drop. I don't know if they call it breakdowns nowadays, but I still like to do that on my beats, just to give it a little bit of variation. You can do that in your remixes as well. And that was quite simple. All I've done there is just chose another sound from Analog Lab, same pattern from the piano sequence, and then just drop that down into the new sound, and it works nicely. And then all I've done is added a different bass sound to fill up the frequency spectrum. Which works nicely. And then that same pattern, bass pattern that I created, moved it across, made some variations, some tweaks, some chops, because it's a nice sound. So I wanted to introduce that a little bit earlier into the remix. So once we've got all of that, just need a few little transitions and effects just to create the tension and the build to the drops. So to break it down, what I did was found the song that I wanted to remix, sourced the acapella, created a drum pattern, created a harmony to fit the vocals, created a counter melody 2 bass lines, 1 808, 1 sustain, and some pads, effects, transitions. And once you've done all that, you put it on Insta, you tag the artist.
I was in the dark, but you held up a light. Became my best friend and shares my bed tonight. Handed me the map to help me find myself. Made sure that I know I don't need no one else. I was in the cycle of pain, the worst disguise is love. I didn't know what I could know, you made me feel enough. There ain't no title that can match your vibe. But whatever we call it, just know you changed my life. I know you said this won't be the way we stay forever. I want you in my life, that won't change if we're not together.
And then you get a reply from your story. If you vibe with this video at all, hit that subscribe button. And if you liked it, I'm sure you're gonna like the next one. So I'll see you over there.